Once upon a time, in a vibrant village nestled among rolling hills in Africa, there lived a young man named Kofi. Kofi was known for his cheerful smile and his hardworking nature. He helped his family on their farm, and the villagers admired him for his kindness. However, Kofi had a problem that made his life more complicated than it should have been. He struggled with staying faithful in his relationships. Kofi had a girlfriend named Oma, who was very dear to him. They had been together for several years, and Oma loved Kofi with all her heart. She always supported him and believed that he would be faithful. But Kofi had a habit of seeing other girls, even though he knew it hurt Oma deeply. He often made promises to change, but he never kept them. Each time Oma found out, her heart would break, but she always forgave him, hoping that he would change for the better. One day, Oma found out that Kofi had been unfaithful once again. She was devastated. Her heart felt as if it were shattered into a million pieces. Despite all her efforts to make their relationship work, Kofi's repeated mistakes had taken a toll on her. Oma had given Kofi countless chances to make things right, but he never seemed to learn from his mistakes. Oma was tired of the endless cycle of hope and disappointment. She felt a deep sadness that was beyond words. Kofi's actions had caused her so much pain that she no longer knew how to heal. In her sorrow, she felt a strong sense of injustice and anger towards Kofi. Oma was not just a beautiful young woman, she was also strong and resilient. Her parents had taught her to be kind and forgiving, but she had limits. Each time Kofi broke her heart, she tried to stay hopeful and believe that things would change. But with each new betrayal, her hope diminished, and her pain grew heavier. Oma spent many nights crying quietly in her small hut. She tried to keep her tears hidden, but her pain was overwhelming. She would sit by the fire, staring at the flames, lost in her thoughts. Her friends and family noticed her sadness but didn't know the full story. Oma tried to put on a brave face during the day, but inside, she was hurting. The village was known for its close-knit community, and everyone cared about each other. Oma's friends often asked if she was okay, but she would only smile and say she was fine. She didn't want to burden them with her problems, especially since Kofi was so well-liked in the village. Despite her efforts to keep her feelings hidden, the pain was too great to ignore. Oma felt trapped between her love for Kofi and her growing realization that he would never change. The emotional toll of Kofi's repeated betrayals was immense. She felt as though she was caught in a storm that she could not escape from. Oma's heart ached with every thought of Kofi's unfaithfulness, and she began to lose faith in the idea of true love. Oma's pain grew so intense that she reached a breaking point. She felt as if she had exhausted all options and had no way out of the cycle of heartbreak. In a moment of deep despair and anger, Oma turned to a traditional healer in the village, seeking advice on how to deal with her suffering. The healer listened to Oma's story with a heavy heart. She understood that Oma's pain was real and profound. The healer, who was known for her wisdom and knowledge of ancient traditions, suggested a way to help Oma find peace. The healer spoke of a powerful curse that could be used to make someone understand the depth of their wrongdoings. Although Oma was hesitant, her pain and frustration led her to consider the healer's advice. Oma returned to her home that evening, feeling both hopeful and fearful. She carefully prepared the materials needed for the curse, including special herbs and chants that were believed to hold great power. As she performed the ritual, she prayed for Kofi to understand the consequences of his actions and to feel the same pain that she had endured. The curse was not intended to harm Kofi physically but to make him experience the emotional turmoil that Oma had felt. It was a desperate measure born out of her deep heart and longing for justice. Oma completed the ritual, hoping that it would lead to a change in Kofi and bring her some relief from the endless cycle of pain. Days passed, and Kofi began to notice something strange happening to him. At first, he thought it was just a minor illness, but as time went on, it became clear that something unusual was occurring. His body started to change in ways he couldn't explain. His clothes became tighter, and his appearance seemed different. Kofi felt worried and confused. He visited the village doctor, who examined him but couldn't find a medical explanation for his symptoms. The doctor suggested that Kofi might be experiencing a form of stress or anxiety. Despite the doctor's reassurances, Kofi couldn't shake the feeling that something more was wrong. The villagers began to notice Kofi's transformation and started whispering about it. Rumors spread quickly, and Kofi found himself the center of attention. People were curious and concerned, but no one had any answers. Kofi felt isolated and frustrated, not knowing where to turn for help. One night, Kofi sat alone, trying to make sense of his situation. He remembered Oma and the curse she had performed. At first, he thought it was just a coincidence, but as his condition worsened, he began to wonder if there was a connection. Kofi felt a growing sense of regret for the way he had treated Oma and realized that he needed to find a way to make things right. As Kofi's condition became more pronounced, the village was abuzz with speculation and gossip. People had never seen anything like it before, and the unusual circumstances surrounding Kofi's transformation became a topic of endless conversation. The village, known for its tight-knit community and traditions, was now grappling with something that defied their understanding. Some villagers believed that Kofi was cursed and that his current state was a punishment for his actions. Others thought it might be a sign of a spiritual imbalance. The village elders called for a meeting to discuss the situation and to seek guidance from their ancestral spirits. The discussion was filled with a mix of curiosity, concern, and fear. Kofi, feeling the weight of the village's attention, grew more anxious. He struggled to understand why this was happening to him and how to address it. The villagers' reactions ranged from sympathetic to judgmental, and Kofi felt the pressure of their expectations. He realized that he needed to confront the issue head-on and find a way to restore his reputation and his life. With the healer's guidance, Kofi began to understand the gravity of his situation. He realized that his actions had led to the curse, and he needed to take responsibility for his mistakes. Kofi knew that the only way to find peace and resolution was to confront Oma and ask for her forgiveness. Kofi approached Oma with a heavy heart. He found her sitting by the river, a place where she often went to reflect and find solace. As he approached, Oma looked up, surprised to see him. Kofi took a deep breath and began to speak. Oma, he said softly, I know that I have hurt you deeply. I have been unfaithful and caused you great pain. I have experienced something that has made me realize the seriousness of my actions. I am truly sorry for everything. Oma listened in silence, her emotions a mix of surprise and guarded hope. Kofi continued, I have learned that my actions have consequences, and I understand now that the curse you placed on me was a result of my wrongdoings. I want to make things right and seek your forgiveness. Oma was taken aback by Kofi's heartfelt apology. She had not expected him to come to her with such honesty and humility. She felt a mixture of relief and skepticism. Oma knew that Kofi's apology was a significant step, but she needed time to process her feelings. I have seen your efforts, Kofi, Oma said softly. I believe that you are trying to change and that you have learned a valuable lesson. It will take time for me to heal, but I am willing to move forward and build a new understanding between us. Kofi felt a sense of relief and gratitude. He knew that rebuilding trust would take time, but he was committed to earning Oma's forgiveness and proving that he had truly changed. With Oma's forgiveness, Kofi felt a renewed sense of hope and purpose. He continued his journey of self-improvement, focusing on being a positive influence in his community. Kofi's transformation became a source of inspiration for others, showing that it was possible to change and grow from one's mistakes. Oma also began to heal from the pain of the past. She saw the positive changes in Kofi and appreciated his efforts to make amends. While their relationship remained cautious, they found a way to build a new, respectful friendship. The village, once filled with gossip and curiosity, came to admire Kofi's dedication to his personal growth. Kofi and Oma's story became a lesson for the entire village about the importance of honesty, forgiveness, and the power of change. Kofi's experience with the curse and his subsequent efforts to make things right taught everyone that true transformation comes from within and that sincere apologies and actions can lead to healing and reconciliation. As time went on, Kofi and Oma found their own paths to happiness and fulfillment. Kofi continued to live a life of integrity and kindness, while Oma focused on her own growth and well-being. Their story was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find redemption and start anew. And so, Kofi and Omo's lives unfolded with a renewed sense of purpose, demonstrating the power of change and the importance of making amends for past mistakes.